All right, Jim, thank you very much. I'm very excited and very grateful to have the opportunity to share my message with all of you. And thank you very much for those of you that are here and putting the time and putting the attention into myself. My name is Philip. I help professionals to become fearless in public speaking by going through a proven three-step process. And now, in order for me to actually share how I do it and how I create the process throughout these 9 years, that I believe being one of the best or one of the most effective process to turn someone that fears public speaking into a very effective speaker. In order for me to explain it, I need to kind of share my own story. As you can hear through my accent, I'm not an English speaker as a native speaker. I'm all the way from Lisbon, Portugal, and my background is health and fitness industry. So the very first time I was introduced to public speaking was through the health and fitness industry. So this was back in 2011, and I want to share this story because it's a very important story. It will relate with a lot of you that fear speaking to an audience. So back in 2011, I have all this knowledge about health and fitness and how to lose weight, how to become healthier and more energy and everything that people look for in a health state. But the problem was two problems. Number one, I did not speak the English language good enough to speak to an audience. And number two, I was extremely nervous and I was scared to not being good enough. Now, the outcome of that same presentation was a disaster. Honestly, was a disaster. A lot of people left halfway through because they couldn't understand what I was saying. And at the end, a lot of people went to complain. So I actually ended up having problems because the presentation was so poor. Now, this was obviously not a good experience, but at the same time, because I went through, I was able to understand that if I could learn and if I could adapt my own personality and my own knowledge to a presentable way, I could make it. So I decided obviously to get the right coaching, to learn from people that they know what they're doing and they coaching others to become good speakers. So I have been doing this for many years. So today is already 9 years that I've been speaking to people, to hundreds of people, or in a physical stage, or to in thousands of people in a virtual room like now. Now, when I understood how I was doing, how based on people's coaching, based on what my own way of doing things, I put together a process that I tried on other people to see if this process would only work with me or could work with anyone. And I was extremely surprised that very easy and very effectively others could apply it and have an outcome very fast. So this is how I then shift my direction and started to working with people, helping them to become effective speakers. I focus massively on fear because that is the number one fear worldwide. And I do work with people that are corporate professionals and they need to present to the corporate team or they need to have sales pitch. And I do as well work with entrepreneurs, brand new, for example, startups that need to speak to investors. So this process I designed is a three-step process, is massively effective, and I'm very excited that I will share with you. And here it goes. Number one, in order for you to understand how to eliminate fear of public speaking, you have to understand the fear itself as a reaction, as a physical reaction in our body. Fear is an instinct reaction that our body has from the brain decision when we go into a new scenario, something that our brain does not recognize, something that is brand new. So if you fear of the dark, for example, you have the same physical reactions that you would have if you fear speaking to an audience, or if you fear, for example, a specific animal. The fear is the same. You cannot really think properly. You think about your own self-protection. That's our instinct as the number one brain's function is to protect ourselves, survival. So every time we go into a new scenario, we always kind of fear, and depending where our background is and stories in the past, that can aggravate that same fear. So understanding that if I can turn something that is new for me, it turn into a familiar situation, then I gave a massive step to the fear loss. So let me break down very concisely how this three-step works. How can I turn someone that fears public speaking into a very effective speaker in the shortest period of time in the most effective way? So take down your notes because this is important. Step number one is your mindset preparation work. Step number two is your tailored strategy with the one move ready to be launched. And step number three is your script. And I'll break down each one of them. Let's go back to step one, which is your mind's preparation work. Inside the step one, there are three things you must do. Number one, massively important, is your self-diagnosis. You need to do a self-study and understand and decide what you are amazing at and decide what you are very bad at. We have to be honest and direct to ourselves to understand what I'm really good at, what I'm not good at all. And then what I'm going to do is I will leverage what I'm good at and I will hide what I'm not good at. Example, let's say I'm phenomenal with numbers and statistics. When I go and start my speech, and if I'm good in numbers, I will use some really key statistics related to the subject I'm about to talk or to share in my message. And this way, if the very first thing I do in my speech is to launch those numbers and connect it to the subject, this will create two things. Number one, you're comfortable because you know you're good in numbers, and two, from the audience reaction, it will create a credibility image towards you. This is why you need to do your self-diagnosis, to use what you're amazing at. What you're not good at, you will hide it. You're not going to work on it. Plus, if you have short time to prepare for your speech, you're not going to work. You will just hide it. Leverage what you're amazing at. The step number two is your audience diagnosis. We need to understand exactly who we are going to speak to. It's not about how good I am delivering a message, it's how good these people are receiving my message. They will be as good as you can deliver to their own language. Meaning, we need to understand how they like to hear things. Are they direct people or not direct people? Do they are they more serious? Are they more funny people, more into jokes, more into extremely detailed statistics or database? You need to really adapt your message to them. Speak the way they like to hear. And this way, from their perspective, on a subconscious mind, they will feel comfortable listening to you. They will feel familiar as they listening to you, equals to they will like you. So it's very, very important. You do your self-diagnosis and your audience diagnosis. And then step number three, inside the mind preparation work, this one is the foundation of all process. Remember, the fear comes from going to something new, something that your brain does not know, is not familiar, so it activates an instinct self-protection, self-defense reaction. So when you prepare yourself for your speech, you need to listen to this. You need to turn the unknown into the known. You need to turn what is not familiar into being familiar. In your brain, when you go for your speech in front of the audience, in front of either in a physical room or a virtual room, it's exactly the same. Your brain needs to feel that it's not the first time. So how do we do this? As you prepare yourself for the speech, as you practice, yes, you can practice with your family and friends. Yes, you can practice in front of the mirror, in your shower, while you drive. This is all good because you frame your speech in your brain. But it's not effective to create that familiarity for your brain, because it happens often. People are ready and they go into that speech, into that presentation 1-2 minutes before, just right before they go in, they will doubt about everything they have practiced. They think, what if I'm going to fail? What if I forget? What if they don't like me? Blah, blah. All of that is just because the brain, even if you practiced, you did not practice in a familiar scenario. Equals to the brain still, you can know the script, but you don't know what you're going to face. So there's that activation, self-protection reaction activated. Correcting myself here. So when you practice for your speech, you will try to create a scenario that is as similar as possible to the real scenario you'll face. If you go into a corporate room, you need to, in your preparation, to prepare yourself and practice your speech in a corporate room to corporate professionals. If you are speaking to investors, you need to somehow find a way to have investors in front of you listening while you practice. So this way, when you go into the speech, the real one, your brain feels familiar. Your brain knows what you're going to face in the next minute. So you're comfortable. You can be a little bit nervous, but you're not scared, not fear. So it does not block you like happens often. Does that make sense? So that's finish the step one. Remember, mind preparation work, self-diagnosis, audience diagnosis, and turning the unknown into known. Then goes step two, which is the Tailor strategy with the one move. Very important. Tailor strategy, you must have a game plan. You cannot just go and speak about randomly about what you like and what your message is. You have to have a tailored strategy. Tailored because it's for that specific audience. Remember, we did the audience diagnosis, so that will help us to craft our message to that specific audience. So this should be very, very effective sniper work. And the one move ready to be launched, I call this the one move ready to be launched, is a combination of the everything related to the subject plus the audience. There's always an angle that we can find, that we can touch, that has not been yet touched, and will create in the almost guarantee outcome a wow factor. The one move is to create the wow factor from the audience to you. This is so important. This is how you can almost guarantee that your speech will be massively successful. The outcome you want is almost guaranteed. It's through the one move. So I'll repeat this. You need to have a study of everything related to the subject. What's the outcome you want of that speech, and what's the audience and how they like to listen, and find that right angle that when you launch it throughout your speech, it creates the wow factor. That wow factor will lead to, at the end of your speech, the audience, they are with you, they love you, they think you are phenomenal, they will follow you, so they will do what you want them to do. Does that make sense? Step two, Tailor strategy. Remember, you have a Tailor strategy with the one move ready to be launched. And then the last one, step three, will be the script. The script is a tool, is something that you will have with you, similar to your GPS, that in any scenario, a question came in or an interruption came in, or for some reason you forgot, any scenario, you look at the script, is right there, you're comfortable, because if something happened, you can just look, okay, this is where I am, this is where I'm going next, and just go. Does that make sense? You will not be scared about forgetting what you need to say, because you have the script with you. Now, a couple of things about your script. Number one, you must be the core brain, the core voice of your speech written. I see a lot of people, a lot of professionals have outsourcing the speech, or the work of the speech, the written, the typing of the speech, to someone else. They obviously save time, but it makes the speech not genuine to you. You can have someone, mentor, coach, a professional, helping you crafting the script, but you must be the core voice, the core brain of your script. Reason is, it has to be genuine from your heart, from your brain, from who you are as a person sharing the message you're sharing. Very important. The second thing about the script is, you don't want to be reading your script. As I said, is your tool right there with you. In case, if you need, you look at it, it's not a problem, reset yourself, keep on moving. Okay, very, very important. Have that tool with you, be the main brain, main heart that types the script down or create the script. Let's recap. Number one, mind preparation work. 3 steps included: self-diagnosis, audience diagnosis, turning the unknown into known. This third one is massively effective, and it's something new and very unique to my own way of coaching people. Number 2, your Tailor Strategy with the one move ready to be launched. Remember that very unique angle that will lead to the wow factor. And number 3, your script. Be the person that writes the script, even with help, but you have to be the person to write the script and have it there with you to help you along your presentation. And that's it. I see many professionals that really, they fear the speaking, and then they look for help, and they get caught and lost in things like, should I move my hands? Should I walk this way, dress that way? Take all that noise down and focus in really what I just said. All right. I have a lot more detailed these steps I just shared with you in my website. You're more than welcome to go to it. It's goncalvesconsulting.com. I'll spell it for you. GONCALVES consulting, the word consulting.com. Repeat, GONCALVES consulting altogether.com. And there you'll find a lot more in detail, and feel free to, because it's easy to find it, I normally, as an appreciation for the people that listen me somehow, somewhere, I get on a call, free strategy session to understand what your next speech, what's going on, what is your current situation, how would I adapt your speech or your strategy to make it very successful. Okay, thank you very much. It was a phenomenal pleasure. And again, eliminate the noise and focus on these 3 steps. It's a pleasure when I have the opportunity to share what I do for a living and how I help others, and how I turn this big fear into something that actually it's a blessing. All of us have a message. All of us want to share. I normally say to my clients, if you can speak or tell a story to your group of friends or to your family on a dinner table, you can be a speaker. You don't need a degree, you don't need none of that. You just need to have a message and have an audience and love that message and feel comfortable because you know about what you want to share. So thank you very much. Feel free to reach out to on my website, GONCALVES consulting.com, and I'll be more than happy to get in touch and to help you somehow.